Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast for Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018. I'm Matt. We got Chris and Steve from OHL Fanboys on Skype. Today we are talking about Memorial Cup Game 6, the Pats' third game. Have you guys caught your breath yet?
I don't think so. That's wild.
That was
as a
game.
neutral, that was a lot of fun.
Fun's a good word for it. I didn't have a lot of fun. I don't know, Chris, did you?
No, it was a little stressful, that's for sure.
In the end, I mean, we got to give props to Swift Current. I wasn't expecting them to last that long. I thought, they'll put up a good 10, 15 minutes, and if we get a few goals, they'll be tired and they'll roll over. But man, they pushed till the end. They really went for it.
Yeah, it looked like us when we played the Teton. We sat back. It was 15 minutes to go, and we're already sitting back. And the guys around us were just like, this is not going to work. We're up 3 goals. It's not going to work.
And that's what I messaged you, and I said, I don't like the looks of this. This is not going to go well. And it didn't.
No.
So, overall, though, other than playing back a little bit there, I thought we looked good. I liked, who I was really impressed with was our third line. I know that a lot of attention is going to get to Henry, and we'll get to these guys, but I liked our third line. There was some times they were winning the battles down deep, and I don't know, it was top to bottom. I was fairly happy with how everyone played. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought we played pretty well. We had a better start. I thought Swift looked good, so they were pushing back. They look a lot better than they did against Hamilton, which is not surprising. They weren't gonna lay another egg. But you get the first. It was just they kept responding after our goals. We couldn't stop them from scoring right after, and that was frustrating.
But that's kind of been how Regina Swift Current has gone.
Yeah, back and forth.
I mean, this is our how many games in a row now?
Wow, 15th game in the season overall.
Yeah. I was happy to see Legion up there on the power play. That was good, but we didn't see him a whole lot other than that. Hey.
No, I didn't see him until I don't know. Was it late in the second?
Yeah, he started to get some ice time again.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, I was going to bring up, I'd heard, now I don't have a big history on the Regina Pats and everything, the happenings of the team, but someone had told me in press row tonight that Austin Pratt, that was his, Bryce Platt. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. That was his first goal in something like 36 games or something. Is that correct? Or?
It could be. I was going to look that up. I was wondering that too. I don't.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah. And he almost said effectively had 2.
Yeah, because that one was going in the net,
and
then God pushed the net off, or
Anderson
pushed.
Yeah. Like you mentioned how your third line played well tonight. I thought he had a great game, and that goal he scored was very nice. And he just seemed to be a guy that kept showing up in the play at key times to me.
And that's not really, it's unusual for him. I'm glad to see it, but he's not typically he's kind of just a role player there and kind of blends in. But yeah, you're right. He did stand up this game.
Yeah, and I thought Bradley played pretty well. I don't think he got on the score sheet, but he looked decent out there.
Yeah. He stepped up too. And then, I mean, we got to talk about this Henry Steele connection. Where was this all year?
Well, yeah, the first half we struggled. Steele was gone. Henry didn't come back
all year. The half year.
Yeah, no, definitely. They were apart for a while because they were struggling in the first bit, when Henry got back. When did Henry come back? Mid-November? So essentially he missed 3-4 months almost, training camp and everything, right? So
I'm wondering if he's just getting in his groove and getting healthy now.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Because they were unstoppable last year. Henry had 35 goals last year as a 17-year-old rookie. So, they look good out there. That's the shorty
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like he shot it from the goal line.
Yeah. I didn't
And-
think that went in.
And it steals patience.
Yeah.
Like unreal
Yeah.
patience.
This was the game I was waiting for him to play. Sam Steele.
I do want to point out Sam Steele, 5 assists tonight. He was a -1.
Ooh, wow.
Terrible effort, I think.
That's
But,
an
okay,
interesting stat. That really is.
It is, but okay. So you take away the power play, you take away the shorthanded goal. So that's 3 even strength goals.
Let's see. His first 2 assists tonight were both on the power play.
Okay.
His next point was the goal, the shorthanded goal. Then he had an assist, so there's a plus. And on the last goal, he had an assist, but that was a power play as well. So 3 power plays, a shorthanded. So he only had one
plus.
assist, even strength.
Yeah. So he was on the goal for 2 against then. So that because I was like, if he had 5 points.
Yeah, there he was on for Swift Current's first goal, which was even strength. I'm looking at their other even strength goals. He was on for both those late third period goals that they had that weren't on the power play. So all 3 Swift Current even strength goals he was on for.
Interesting.
But I think if you get 5 assists, you can let that slide a little bit.
It doesn't matter how many points you get if you lose the game, right?
Right.
But we squeaked it out. Like,
do you know? We've talked about a lot of players that stood up. One of the players that didn't stand out or stood out maybe for a bad reason was Puto. Both goals Godden scored there, he squeaked by him both times, and I'm just thinking, man, just rub him out, press him up against the boards, but he let him go, and Godden scored once right off a direct shot, and then the other second time was right after getting by Puto. And
yeah, that first one where Godden went short side. Yeah, I don't know what Puto was doing. Like he wanted to hit him, but he didn't commit
turned around
to it. And God just snuck by him on the boards, and then he roofed it short side upstairs.
Yeah.
Like
it was a great
struggled.
shot, but yeah.
But yeah, Puto struggled a little tonight,
Mhm.
but it wasn't.
I mean, and you were talking about how Swift Current looked a lot better tonight. One reason for that was their top guys finally got on the score sheet.
Yeah.
Estevan had been having an okay tournament so far, and he had another goal and assist tonight. But, Glenn Godden, who had a really great WHL playoff, he had 2 goals and assists tonight. Those were his only points all tournament.
Yeah.
Alexei Hepo-Niemi, he had a goal and 3 assists tonight, all points of the tournament. And I can't pronounce this guy's last name. It was a Beck
Mallenstein.
Goal and assist for him tonight. His only 2 points of the tournament. And those were guys that, I remember seeing online today on Twitter, someone from Swift Current said, if they want to have success, these guys have got to show up.
Yeah.
And they did big time, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
I wouldn't say it's unfortunate.
I'm the neutral here.
You're right.
Neutral observer.
You're right, though. It was surprising coming into this game. Those 3 guys had 0 points.
Well, that line was Steenbergen, ish with Mallenstein / Steenbergen. That line drove them the whole season.
Yeah.
So and it's surprising that they were gone. Sure you're missing Steenbergen, but I mean you got to have other guys to step up. Just because you're missing one guy.
That power play did not look the same without him, though.
Well, yeah, I don't know. And see, they had Estefan out there, and I noticed Estefan was up with them 5-on-5 as well for a bit. But I mean, Estefan's been scoring a lot of goals too. I think I think Estefan was on the back end for a bit too, and then they had Mallenstein up front, and then I think they may have switched it in the power play. But I don't know. There's enough talent there that sure Steenbergen is that the sniper, but I mean they have enough guys that should be able to replace him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll play a little bit more devil's advocate here. I mean, it was mentioned on the broadcast tonight. This was Swift Current's 101st game of the season. And you're talking about a team that since the end of their series with the Pats in the first round, this was their 22nd game since then, whereas it was only the Pats' third. So not to make excuses for them, but that's a hell of a stretch.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no, for sure.
No, I'm impressed with how hard and how long they held on right till the very end. All the credit to them. That was a good game by both teams.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the Pats shot blocking, and they were down there. They were just, you could see them just holding their hand over their mouth, protecting the chicklets there, and
they
just
were
ready to
selling
take one.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were selling out 100%.
There was somebody early in the game, and I'm honestly just drawing a blank on who it was, or even what team it was. I think it was even a Swift Current player, but it looked like he got one almost on the side of the face.
Yes, it was Swift Current. Yeah. I don't remember who it was. Maybe Fighton or Nagel. But yeah, it did look up in that face area. But he was down, like,
Maybe it got him in the. Maybe he was lucky it got him in the visor of the helmet.
Yeah, it did look like it was up in his head area.
A bunch of us cringed at that. It looked pretty bad.
Speaking of cringeworthy, no hats on the ice. Henry scores 3 goals, no hats.
I know that's
Twitter blew up. Colby Armstrong even noticed it. He said, "Come on, guys! Like, were you too far from the ice or what?"
I was, but
you weren't going to throw. I'm sure that hat probably cost at least $30. You weren't throwing that.
That was a $35 hat, but that's my own fault for not bringing my hat-trick hat.
So the story is, Steve, we brought an extra hat, like an old hat, to almost every single game, and we never got to throw it. So
yeah, and then
he doesn't.
What happens. Yeah.
Steve, I want to get some insight on the officiating. You've seen a number of Memorial Cup games. Are they typically, like, for me? This felt like it was an elimination game. They were calling some weak ass penalties, things that normally would go in like a Game 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, trying to think back to other Memorial Cups, I can remember the debacle from, and actually it kind of ties in a little bit because now the WHL champions have lost their last 10 straight games at the Memorial Cup. The last time they won was the 2015 semifinal when Kelowna beat Quebec 9-3. And I remember in that game at the Colisée being there, and one of the Kelowna players just drilling, and it looked like he got him high in the head, one of the Quebec players, and the crowd lost their minds, and everyone started throwing garbage during the play, like it was raining down garbage, like an insane amount, not just like, oh, here's a pop bottle here and a pop bottle there, like from all sections it was coming. And it just, sometimes you have that where not garbage throwing, but just like you see the same thing. Yeah, you see the same thing in the OHL all year. We pray for consistency and just don't get it. You got that a guy throwing an elbow to the head, maybe not that bad of a thing, but just like a very obvious cross check, like what Chris brought up post game there, and it doesn't get called, but then that little hack on the hands does or something, and it's just, you think, why?
Yeah, Steele, they showed the replay and we counted it. There was 6 cross checks on Steele, and it was like the 5th one from Estefan, and it just crumpled him, and there was no call. And then they bring it up the ice, and I don't know who the defender was. It was kind of like a high kind of forearm shot to the head area, and Heponiemi just drops like a cheap card table like he always does, well, because he only weighs 120 pounds. and then all of a sudden it's a power play, and fucking it's in the back of the net.
Mahura like pushed him down, and
same with like that Hayek hit. In which game was that? Against Acadia.
Yes.
I think Hayek, same thing. Hayek just kind of pushed through his chest, and he went down, and it was a penalty.
Yeah.
And so, but tonight was the OHL and the Q ref doing it. There was no WHL ref involved tonight. So, but I remember Game 7 against Swift Current. There was all of 1 penalty.
And maybe that's what I was drawing from, because it kind of felt like that to me. The game did, but not the ref.
Yeah. No, and there was maybe one. I can think of maybe one obvious call that probably should have been called in that, and I was fine with the Game 7 reffing that night.
Yeah.
You have those situations where you get a Game 7, and you almost literally have to murder somebody to get a penalty. And then there's the other nights where they're calling everything.
And we kind of were thinking that in this section. We were kind of thinking that they're like, oh, there's been a couple penalties already. It's going to be a parade, I think, tonight.
Yeah.
To be fair, the actual power plays ended up being even. Regina 3 for 5 on the power play tonight. Swift Current 2 for 5. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No, I wasn't saying a bias to one team or the other. Just
no,
some of the calls were just
it makes you
ticky-tacky.
scratch your head. Yeah, and it's like you think the game's over there when the Pats make it 6-4 off a penalty that the refs had to call, that the too many men.
yeah,
Mhm.
so
Skinner.
obvious. Yeah.
But then you think the game's over and they go right back down. And I thought it was a legitimate penalty where and I got it right here. Hold on, sorry. When Josh Mahura kind of gave the face wash at the blue line to Buddy on the Broncos, and it got him a roughing penalty, and that put Swift Current right back in it for like a third time. It was insane.
But that's junior hockey, right?
That's junior. That's what we. Yeah, reffing mistakes.
It's always gonna be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been surprised at all if Swift Current had tied that game, and I would have just said that's junior hockey for you, man. Like it's never over until it's over, really. And you know what? I said to Chris, we were sitting there talking at the second intermission, and I said, you know what? You guys are up 4-2. I think if you get the next goal, we'll make it 5-2. Like Swift Current looks okay, but I think you guys will be fine if you get that 5-2 goal, and you did, and I thought you were fine.
And then it wasn't. Yeah, like I said, yeah, like we've already got 4 past Skinner. Like he's good for 6 on these nights. Like as well as he has played in the playoffs, he
isn't in
had
the
some
Brandt Center.
stinkers. I know. Like we put up 13 prior to this game. We had put up 13 goals in the last 2 games. In game 4 and game 6 here, we put up 13 goals. And then, here's another 6 spot tonight. Like there's 19 goals.
Yeah.
And not like he was getting peppered all night. Like he only had to face 28 shots. I remember him making a few decent saves early in the game before like that real flurry of goals right there where you guys got a goal, or you got the shorthanded goal. They came back with a power play goal next shift. You guys came down a minute or two later, scored again. Before all that happened, Skinner had some decent saves, but nothing spectacular like you saw against Hamilton the other night.
Yeah, he didn't rob anybody. He wasn't flashing the leather like he was against Hamilton.
So Scott at Pats Do WHL, he tweeted out Skinner's playoff record, including Memorial Cup, is 2-9 in the Brandt Center with 40 goals against. So 40 goals in 11 games, 2-9. I don't know what it is about that building. Did you get the Skinner chant going?
Oh yeah, it was going.
It didn't come across the TV too well, but
that's unfortunate. But
it was pretty loud all night, right from the moment the puck dropped.
Yeah,
and
they were just right after the anthems, and they were waiting to roll up the red carpet and everything. So they're still standing on the blue line, and it started right then.
Okay, now that's fun. I mean, it's fun, right?
I know after that first Pat's goal, I think it was about midway through the first period there, I that one fan probably to the right of me, just outside the media section, yelling, "Looks like you're off your game tonight," and it was pretty loud. I don't know if you heard it up where you were, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he hears the chants. I'm sure he doesn't hear those ones. But,
cat calls,
it's just people. I was impressed in a way with how relentless the Pats fans were. Even after I think one time after a Broncos goal, they tried getting the Skinner chant going. It's like, wrong goalie, I think, right now. But it's just how the game is.
But there was a lot of Swift Current fans there. I was impressed at how loud they were. At the start of the game, when they scored. There was a lot of Swift Current fans there. Like,
yeah,
I was pretty impressed.
And I expected that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, like in game 4, when Skinner got pulled in the middle of the second period, in game 4, all 6,484 Pats fans crammed that building. It was probably twice as loud, Steve. If you can imagine, twice as loud. Yeah, because it was all Pats fans, right?
And you mentioned 6,484. That was our official attendance tonight.
So it was an official sellout. First one.
Good.
I saw a few empty seats here and there, but it
Yeah.
was full. People
Yeah.
were sitting right up to the top row in the big end.
Yeah, and there's always going to be the empty seats because people always like to stand in the corners and wander around.
Someone's always
So-
in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. There was only 2 people in my row all game, so there's 6 empty seats beside me all game. But I mean,
Someone didn't want to show up
yeah,
tonight.
they were all sold. So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Must have been Hamilton fans.
Yeah, maybe they said, "Ah, screw it."
Back at the hotel watching it, just puking, going, "Come on, Swift Current, do it!"
Yeah. So
Good. So on to Hamilton.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
It's a bit of
They're
a
gonna
high from this game, but we got to buckle down and get back at it.
yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
It will be. Yeah.
Yeah, they look good against Swift Current.
They looked really good. Yeah.
So
I don't know
I
if
think-
I'd put too much money, but I don't know. Who knows? It's one game.
You got to get you got to just keep hitting Fulcher with shots. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about the kid. He is a good goalie, but to me, from what I've seen, maybe between him and Paddock on the 4th best goalie at this tournament, it's just he like Stuart Skinner. Some nights can look really good, and some nights he can look really bad. And I know a lot of people trade deadline time thought that Hamilton should go out and get another goalie. They stuck with him, and it worked out through the playoffs. He didn't really have a bad game. It's been a while since he's had a really bad game, so
maybe
there's
he's
that
due.
for you.
You're saying
Maybe
he's due?
He could be.
Hey.
I'm trying to think. The only thing close I could think of to him having a bad game was game 5 of the OHL final where he gave up 5, I think it was, but that was after Hamilton had already gotten a big 5-1 lead, and Sioux came back at the end, and they were just on their heels. Everything the Sioux was shooting at went in the net, but Hamilton pulled out the win. So, I would say you got to keep trying to pepper him as much as you can. But Hamilton, is just relentless, such a deep team. Like even their 4th line is one they can roll all night long, and they're going to be coming at you in waves. And obviously, everyone's going to be looking to Robert Thomas, but there's about 6 or 7 other guys on that offense that can be just as dangerous as him at any given point.
Yeah, like after the game last night, we were on the Fanboys podcast. We were discussing Thomas, and it's like, oh yeah, he got a star. I'm not too sure why he got the star. He should have got the star the previous night. Like, to me, Camano looked way better last night than Thomas did, and he didn't get a star. But yeah, they do look good. So
I wouldn't suggest any of your guys getting in front of any Riley Stillman slap shots, because he can shoot the puck. He had a couple goals during the finals where he leaned into it, and man, I'm surprised it didn't go through the net. So if you see him wind up on Friday night, it might get ugly.
Well, right on Friday night, that's going down. You guys have any more comments on this game?
Crazy. That's all I can say. It was nice as an outsider to finally see the Pats fans really, really get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there weren't as many in the other 2 games, but at the same time, you could still have a loud building with a smaller crowd if people are into it. And yeah, they cheered for the goals, but in their games against Hamilton and Bathurst, it just didn't seem like it was a really rocking place to be. Tonight, I'm sure it helped with having so many Swift Current fans there, but you know what? It's not like in the game Swift Current had played in, it felt like the whole building was cheering for them. And tonight, yeah, they had a good contingent of people, but the Pats fans really showed up and stepped up their game tonight. And hopefully, for their sakes, I would like to see that Friday night. It's always much better when there's a great atmosphere like that, especially at a Memorial Cup.
yeah, it was nice to see the building loud again. Like, I remember back to last year, the championship final, and it was loud, and we hadn't had that. I guess maybe until game 4 back here this year, but yeah, it was nice to see that really good energy going again. And one other thing from tonight, back to Skinner, not that to shit on him or anything, but I mean, like, we didn't have as many shots like as Hamilton did. He didn't get in that groove, right? No. And like that's what happened last night. Yeah. he had lots of
Hamilton
not
peppered
say-
him in
yeah,
the first period, but with
they were
nothing.
easier shots.
Yeah.
Like
So he got, like you said, he got in that zone and you could see
yeah,
it.
that's the thing where if he gets in that zone, he is unbeatable. Like
Yeah.
you can see where everybody's high on him, but you get the games to like tonight, like the last goal, which ended up being the winner from Hayek. Like he's right in the slot and he just snuck it between his arm and his body. Like that was probably should have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems like a shot where last night he stopped, or 2 nights ago he's stopping that.
Yeah.
And tonight it just wasn't happening. Like you said, Hamilton peppered him with kind of easy shots in the first period, none too amazing scoring chances. Whereas tonight, the Pats didn't have a ton of shots in the first. I think it was 10, so a decent amount, but nothing. They weren't all coming at once. It wasn't like a steady rhythm of shots. Yeah. A couple good chances, and there was the goal, which I didn't think he had a whole lot of chance on anyway. So, and like you said, he gets behind the 8 ball, and he didn't get that groove tonight.
Like I'm sure if you go back to the playoff series with them, I'm sure we lost every game that we outshot Swift Current.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, he's kind of like you have to hit him. He gets into it when he gets lots of shots and.
Yeah, like that game 4, he was pulled by mid-second period. Like we had 5 by him or so at that point in the game. Like it's like feast or famine almost with him.
Well, I think
right?
even of Platt's goal. I mean, Platt deked him out. He's not really a finesse goal scorer either to be deking out goalies. So.
And you see, I don't know, is the TV? I don't know what TV timeout it was, but he took his mask off. And Steve, you noted this. He took his mask off and he coasted to the bench, and his head was just down, like he just looked defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't look good.
And that was after the 6-4 goal. I think
the 6-4 goal. I thought it was earlier than that, but I can't remember.
It might have been. It might have been earlier than that.
Because I thought we got another goal after that.
Because you guys had 5 for a long time. Like that 5th goal came pretty early in the
period.
Right,
it was still 5-2. So yeah, it was maybe that 6th goal. Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking through tweets from Sean Mullen and talking about they're talking about Glenn Godden and his shoulder. I guess there was a rumor going around during the playoffs that it was separated.
Well, I heard on the pregame show that they said, oh yeah, it sounds like Godden is pretty hurting.
This was from Vervos. Is that how you pronounce his name? Viveros.
Yeah.
Speaking about Godden post game tonight, there was a time he couldn't even move his shoulder. So
I wonder if that was in the Lethbridge series when he missed the 2 games.
Yeah. And that just about did them in.
And that did, yeah.
And he admits, he's like, at the end of the day, I thought we were really running on fumes, and you take away a guy like Steenberg out of the lineup,
and Godden's playing 50%. Like
him and Sissons, Sissons ice time. I know it's not a stat, but he was on there almost all the time. It seemed like
not just tonight, but every game of the tournament. He was out there all the time.
Yeah, you get those extra TV timeouts. I'm sure their third pairing didn't see the ice at all. Like
probably not.
I seen King out there for like 1 or 2 shifts. He's the 5th guy, and I don't even know who the 6th defenseman is, but I seen King out there a couple times, and that's about it.
Apparently, Artyom Manulin, he apparently twice during the playoffs dislocated his shoulder, and when they won the Edge Cup, couldn't even lift it properly over his head. So
well, yeah, he was out for a couple games in our series, so he's been battling it all playoffs.
Yeah.
So it was like us. We were
last year
hanging by threads last year, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a tough trophy to win.
It is, and maybe that, that's maybe why the WHL hasn't won a game in the last couple
I did
years.
recognize Steve worked that stat in. I picked that up, buddy. That you. Of the WHL
just slide it in there.
Non-success, the champions not winning a game in the last 3 years.
Yeah, like obviously, you guys have won a couple as hosts, and I think Red Deer won a game or 2 as hosts a couple of years ago. But yeah, not since Kelowna won the semifinal in 2015 has a WHL champion won a game at the Memorial Cup.
But I know there was a stat leading kind of up to that point. It's the WHL had won the most Memorial Cups in a certain period just recently.
Yeah, the WHL still holds the most Memorial Cups, I believe.
Yeah.
I know a friend of mine likes to bring that up. He says he doesn't really have any bias towards. He could, he's a London Knights fan, and I'm trying to think. I guess if you're a London Knights fan, the team you'd hate the most would either be Windsor or Kitchener. And if they get to the Memorial Cup, he doesn't care. He's cheering for the OHL because he wants the OHL to overtake the WHL. I don't have the numbers in front of me on how many they're behind, but it's been getting closer with the OHL winning the last 3.
Yeah, a lot lately. So,
well, let's get one more, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It
is going to
be a tough game against Hamilton. But yeah, this tournament has been wild so far, so why not? Hey.
Yeah, for sure. There's no point we're all this way. You might as well win it, right?
Well, that's why this team was built, was to win this. So
yeah,
and I'll say this: your road is shorter than the example I'll bring up. 6 years ago, Shawinigan was a backdoor entry to the Memorial Cup as a host. They had to play a tiebreaker, a semi, and a final, and they beat 3 league champions 3 games straight. I guess that's essentially what you have to do now. Without the tiebreaker, you beat Swift Current tonight. You got to beat another champion Friday, and you got to beat another champion on Sunday. It can be done.
Yeah,
that's true. That's a good way of putting it. 3 league champs to be the champ, man.
Yeah, you beat everybody. You're king of the hill.
Well, let's hope for a good game Friday. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're good here. So.
Other than thanks for having me on, and and I get to thank Chris here for putting me up for the week. Wouldn't have been able to come out here otherwise. So it's been fun coming to games. I got some Pats gear tonight. I got myself a T-shirt to take back home. So it's been fun coming to games in Regina, and I'm glad I got out here.
Good. Well,
yeah, it's good to have you. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thanks for giving us some insight on Hamilton here. Good. We will wrap this up. It's getting a little late. I want to get to bed, and we'll talk to you guys Friday after the Pats game, hopefully with some good news. And anything else, guys? Are you good?
Yeah, well, we're good.
All right. See you, everybody.
Cool. Thanks.